Hello and welcome to you all. This is the Great Books course of Ubiquity University. My name is Dr. Gyorgyi Szabo. I serve as the Dean of Graduate Studies at Ubiquity. Let us wait for a couple of minutes while people are filing in, and then we shall start our session. I very much appreciate you joining us today. Let me just see that there's still some people coming in. Hi, Victoria. Hello, Suzanne. And Glenda is here. Thank you. And Laura, Leon, Linda, Maya. Wonderful. Let's see if there are some latecomers. It's only a couple of minutes past the hour. Hope you are all well and live peacefully wherever you are. Spring has arrived. I'm in Hungary, in Budapest, and very much enjoyed listening to the birds. Hello, you're from Virginia, Victoria. Thank you. Okay, well, I'd like to start. I'm going to discuss with you Simone de Beauvoir's Inseparables. I chose this book for many reasons, one of which is I love Simone de Beauvoir's work. You may remember a couple of years ago, I gave a presentation on her seminal book, The Second Sex. But this time, this book is just so different to any other of her writings. Mostly because this book is actually fairly short. It's only 120 pages long, but it's dense. It's really about a beautiful friendship. A friendship that is captivating, that is full of joy and love and sadness and tragic as well. I was going to give an overview and discuss the book with you today. And the second time in April, I was going to discuss all the ins and outs of friendship, because this book is based on friendship. But I have changed the structure for a very specific reason, because just over a week ago, Ubiquity University lost one of its founder by the name of Jim Hickman. He was an amazing human being. He was a friend to many, most predominantly to Jim Garrison. They were friends for, I think, over 40 years. We miss Jim Hickman very much, and I thought that today, this presentation, I would like to dedicate it to him. And wherever you are, Jim Hickman, hope you're listening, or if you can listen, I hope your soul continues its beautiful path in peace and shrouded with lots of love. So today I'd like to delve into what friendship is about. What are all the aspects, the essences, the basis of friendship? Because I'm sure you have lots of friendships, and some friends stays with us for a reason, season, and lifetime. And I always wonder that what were these intricacies of friendship? If you read this book, which we will discuss in April, then a very unique friendship will be presented to you. So to find questions to my answers, as always, I do, or rather I did, an extensive research, and I went to Aristotle, Plato, and lots of other philosophers just to hear what they say about friendship. I prepared a little slideshow that I would like to show you. So this is the book we are going to discuss in April. And just a little prelude to going into friendship. I was always and often wondering that what a good read is to me. Why do I enjoy a book? Is it about the story? Is it to do with my emotional state? Is it about the style of writing? So I found this wise little message that I would like to share with you first. I read so many books, but I forgot most of them. So what's the point of reading then? Asked the student from his master. The master did not answer straight away. After some days passed, while his young student and him were sitting near a river, the master said that he was thirsty and asked the young man to bring him water with a dirty sieve that lay next to them on the ground. The student winced as he knew this task was senseless. But he couldn't say no to his master. He picked up the sieve and went ahead with this absurd challenge. Every time he dipped the sieve into the river, after a few steps, there was no drop of water remained in the sieve itself. He tried a dozen times, like running fast from the river to his master. Water disappeared on the way to him. Exhausted, he sat next to his master and said the following: I cannot bring water to you with this sieve. Please forgive me, master. This is an impossible task, and I failed. No, said the master, smiling. You did not fail. Look at the sieve. It looks like new. The water seeping through the holes cleansed it. When you read books, continued the master, you are like a sieve. It is not a problem if you cannot retain all the water that is flowing into and through you. Books with their ideas, feelings, emotions, wisdom, and knowledge you find on their pages cleanse your mind and soul, thus make you a better and renewed human being. This is the aim of reading. This is amazing. So let's start to review the notion of friendship as one of the greatest gifts life can provide. C.S. Lewis likened friendship to philosophy, art, and the universe itself, saying that it has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. Aristotle distinguished between three types of love: agape, but religious people feel towards God; eros is a type that relates to sexual partners; and philia is a type of love that is between friends, family, and even business partners. Aristotle regarded friendship as a mirror we hold up to one another. Emerson viewed it as the product of truth and tenderness. John O'Donoghue understood friendship's essence, as in the ancient Celtic notion of anamkara, while David White saw it as a mirror to presence and a testament to forgiveness. Simone Weil, a French philosopher, said the following: to desire friendship is a great fault. Friendship should be a gratuitous joy like those afforded by art or life. We must refuse it so that we may be worthy to receive it. It is of the order of grace. It is one of those things which are added onto us. Every dream of friendship deserves to be shattered. Friendship is not to be sought, not to be dreamed, not to be desired. It is to be exercised. It is a virtue. Friendship cannot be separated from reality any more than the beautiful. It is a miracle, like the beautiful. And the miracle consists simply in the fact that it exists. A principal fruit of friendship, Francis Bacon observed, It is the ease and the discharge of the fullness and the swellings of the heart, which passions of all kinds do cause and induce. St. Augustine described friendship as sweet beyond the sweetness of life. But what exactly is friendship? What defines its rational qualities? Andrew Sullivan, in his book titled Love Undetectable, Notes on Friendship, Sex, and the Survival, wrote, "For me, friendship has always been the most accessible of relationships, certainly far more so than romantic love. Friendship, I learned, provided a buffer in the interplay of emotions, a distance that made the risk of intimacy bearable, a space that allowed the other person to remain safely another person." His points of view on the equality between parties in a friendship is worth looking at. He expounds, "This may seem a banal point on the surface, but the more you think about it, the more significant it seems. It is linked to reciprocity because each human being is equal in his or her capacity to assent or not to assent to a relationship. Each is, in some sense, radically equal in the capacity for friendship. Even in relationships in which one person vastly outweighs the other in money or wit or good looks or social power, the inferior party can quit friendship of his or her own accord and reduce it to its essential elements. A friendship is thus ultimately defined by the desire of each person to be in it. And it is successful insofar as the desire is equal between the two parties. Friendship is almost a central symbol of human autonomy and the most accessible example of that autonomy in practice. His focal point is the supremacy of friendship over romantic love, or Aristotle's notion of eros, to which he explained the following. By love, I don't mean the principle of giving and mutual regard that lies at the heart of friendship, but love in the banal, ubiquitous, compelling, and resilient modern meaning of love. The romantic love that obliterates all other goods, the love to which every life must apparently lead, the love that is consummated in sex and celebrated in every particle of our popular culture, the love that is institutionalized in marriage and instilled as a primary and ultimate good in every Western child. I mean eros, which is more than sex, but is bound up with sex. I mean the longing for union with another being, the sense that such a union resolves the essential quandary of human existence, the belief that only such a union can abate the loneliness that seems to come with being human and deter the march of time that threatens to trivialize our very existence. We live in a world, in fact, in which respect and support for eros has acquired the hallmarks of a cult. He discloses the following. The impossibility of love is partly its attraction. It is an irrational act, a concession to the passions, a willing renunciation of reason and moderation. And that's why we believe in it. It is also why, in part, the sober writers and thinkers of the ancient and medieval worlds found it a self-evidently inferior, if bewitching, experience. But their confidence in this regard was based not simply on a shrewd analysis of love, but on a deeper appreciation of friendship. Without the possibility of friendship, after all, love might seem worth the price. If the promise of union, of an abatement to loneliness, of finding a soulmate, was only available through the vagaries of eros, that it might be worth all the heartbreak and insanity for a glimpse, however brief, of what makes life worth living. But if all these things were available in a human relationship that is not inherently self-destructive, then why, after all, should one choose the riskier and the weaker option? And in almost every regard, friendship delivers what love promises but fails to provide. The contrasts between the two are, in fact, many and largely damning to love's reputation. Where love is swift, for example, friendship is slow. Love comes quickly, as the song has it, but friendship ripens with time. If love is at its most perfect in its infancy, friendship is most treasured as the years go by. Here is another interesting observation by him. If love is sudden, friendship is steady. At the moment of meeting a friend for the first time, we might be aware of an immediate click or a sudden mutual interest, but we don't fall in friendship. And where love is often at its most intense in the period before the lover is possessed, in the exquisite suspense of the chase and the stomach-fluttering nervousness of the capture, friendship can only really be experienced when both friends are fully used to each other. For friendship is based on knowledge, and love can be based on mere hope. You can love someone more than you know him, and he can be perfectly loved without being perfectly known. But the more you know a friend, the more a friend he is. Philosopher and scientist, method pioneer Francis Bacon pointed out in his complete essays on friendship that a principal fruit of friendship is the ease and discharge of the fullness and swellings of the heart, which passions of all kinds do cause and induce. We know diseases of stoppings and suffocations are the most dangerous in the body, and it is not much otherwise in the mind. You may take sarza to open the liver, steel to open the spleen, flowers of sulfur for the lungs, castoreum for the brain, but no receipt opens the heart, but a true friend, to whom you may impart griefs, joys, fears, hopes, suspicions, counsels, and whatsoever lieth upon the heart to oppress it in a kind of severe shrift or confession. He then considers the second fruit of friendship, which is healthful and sovereign for the understanding, as the first is for the affections. For friendships make indeed a fair day in the affections from storm and tempest, but it makes daylight in the understanding out of darkness and confusion of thoughts. Neither is this to be understood only of faithful counsel, which a man receives from his friend. But before you come to that, certain it is that whosoever had his mind fraught with many thoughts, his wits and understanding do clarify and break up in the communicating and discoursing with another. He throws his thoughts more easily. He marshals them more orderly. He sees how they look when they are turned into words. Finally, he waxes wiser than himself, and that more by an hour's disclosure than by a day's meditation. C.S. Lewis, in this Fourth Loves book published in 1960, explores the difference between four main categories of intimate human bonds: affection, the most basic and expressive; eros, the passionate and sometimes destructive desire of lovers; charity, the highest and the most unselfish spiritual connection; and friendship, the rarest, least joyous, and most profound relation. Lewis writes, lovers seek for privacy. Friends find this solitude about them, this barrier between them and the herd, whether they want it or not. In a circle of true friends, each man is simply what he is, stands for nothing but himself. No one cares two pence about anyone else's family, profession, class, income, race, or previous history. Of course, you will get to know about most of these in the end, but casually. They will come out bit by bit to furnish an illustration or an analogy, to serve as pegs for an anecdote, never for their own sake. That is the kingliness of friendship. We meet like sovereign princes of independent states, abroad, on neutral ground, freed from our context. This love essentially ignores not only our physical bodies, but that whole embodiment which consists of our family, jobs, past, and connections. At home, besides being Peter or Jane, we also bear a general character, husband or wife, brother or sister, chief, colleague, or subordinate. Not among our friends. It is an affair of disentangled or stripped minds. Eros will have naked bodies, friendship, naked personalities. Hence, if you will not misunderstand me, the exquisite arbitrariness and irresponsibility of this love. I have no duty to be anyone's friend, and no man in the world has a duty to be mine. No claims, no shadow of necessity. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art, like the universe itself. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. The French philosopher Michel de Montaigne had a direct influence on writers all over the world, including Francis Bacon, René Descartes, Blaise Pascal, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Friedrich Nietzsche, Isaac Asimov, William Shakespeare, and Stefan Zweig, the latter, who in flight from Nazism turned first of all to Montaigne, writing, Montaigne helps us answer this question: how to stay free, how to preserve our inborn clear-mindedness in front of all the threats and dangers of fanaticism, how to preserve the humanity of our hearts among the upsurge of bestiality. Montaigne experienced a profound, life-changing friendship, and for this reason, he dedicated a special chapter to such an experience in his massive volume Essays, published first in 1580. I would like to share some of his findings on love, friendship, and intimacy. He said, you cannot compare with friendship the passion men feel for women, even though it is born of our own choice, nor can you put them in the same category. I must admit that the flames of passion are more active, sharp, and keen, but that fire is a rash one, fickle, fluctuating, and variable. It is a feverish fire subject to attacks and relapses, which only get hold of a comer of us. The love of friends is a general universal warmth, temperate, moreover, and smooth, a warmth which is constant and at rest, all gentleness and evenness, having nothing sharp nor keen. What is more, sexual love is but a mad craving for something which escapes us. As soon as it enters the territory of friendship, where wills work together, that is, it languishes and grows faint. To enjoy it is to lose it. Its end is in the body and therefore subject to satiety. Friendship, on the contrary, is enjoyed in the proportion to our desire. Since it is a matter of the mind, with our souls being purified by practicing it, it can spring forth, be nourished, and grow only when enjoyed. Moreover, what we normally call friends and friendships are no more than acquaintances and familiar relationships bound by some chance or some suitability, by means of which our souls support each other. In the friendship which I'm talking about, says Montaigne, souls are mingled and confounded in so universal a blending that they efface the seam which joins them together, so that it cannot be found. If you press me to say why I loved him, I fear that it cannot be expressed except by replying, because it was him, because it was me. Mediating this union there was beyond all my reasoning, beyond all that I can say specifically about it, some inexplicable force of destiny. Montaigne differentiates between ordinary and true friendship. Ordinary friendships or more acquaintanceships are those relationships we form in daily life to oil the wheels of social discourse and to negotiate everyday life and navigate its various social challenges. According to Montaigne, these friendships are friendships of convention or utility, and we enter into them to make society function. We have many such superficial acquaintances or professional relationships with work colleagues, but we may not truly connect with them on a deeper spiritual level and therefore may not derive any spiritual fulfillment from them. While Aristotle considered a friend as another self, friendship is defined by Montaigne as a spiritual experience where one soul finds itself in two bodies and reconnects to such an extent that even death becomes irrelevant. In fact, Montaigne considered only true friendship of the type he described as an end in itself, while all other types of friendship were merely mean to a particular end. A true friend, according to Montaigne, fulfilled multiple roles for the other person. His friend, for example, seemed to function at one time or another as Montaigne's father, brother, friend, and beloved. While he clearly contrasted true friendship with family, sexual and romantic relationships, his conception of friendship seemed to define a superior relationship that fulfills all of these diverse and by themselves inferior roles in one single, a special relationship characterized by wholeness, perfection, uniqueness, and spirituality. Further, Montaigne posits that such a spiritual friendship is akin to a meeting of soulmates, an extremely rare experience. He himself had found such a perfect friendship in his relationship with Etienne de la Boétie, and as he considered it irreplaceable and a unique, once-in-a-lifetime event, Montaigne made no efforts to find a new true friend after la Boétie's death. A further important aspect of Montaigne's conception of friendship is that of involuntary attraction. Like Cicero and Aristotle, For example, Montaigne thought of friendship not as something that is actively pursued, but rather as an inexplicable phenomenon that happens to two persons involuntarily without them having any choice in the matter. However, according to this concept, friendship is not a love of properties of the other person, but rather a love for the person itself and who they really are. The other person's traits are specifically not the foundation for the friendship here. When questioned about his reasons for his friendship with La Boétie, Montaigne famously stated, "If one were to press me to say why I loved him, I fear that this cannot be expressed because it was he, because it was I." Further on, Montaigne posited that it is only possible to have one true friend in one's lifetime, and that it is impossible to repeat or recreate this experience with other people, and that any other relationship is merely a casual relationship that can never reach the depth of true friendship described by him. In fact, according to him, a participant in the true friendship, he said, gives himself so wholly to his friend that he has nothing left to distribute elsewhere. Loyalty to one's one and only true friend is therefore of major importance for Montaigne, so important that it should cause one to defy all norms. As he describes it, a true friend should put his best friend above all else and be loyal to him above anyone else. To him, having multiple friends would create conflict, as these friends may have conflicting interests, and it would not be relationships in our own environments and society at large. In today's modern society in particular, we seem to have fallen prey to the illusion of friendship, above all on social media, where some individuals have thousands of friends but barely have any true connections with them in real life at all. Today's lifestyle with remote working and a focus on online world is making it increasingly rare to find that one person to connect with and form a true friendship, according to Montaigne's definition. Hence, Montaigne's distinction between friendship of utility and friendship of value is also perfectly plausible and still as relevant today as in his day, if not even more so. Montaigne's conception of friendship is reminiscent of Plato's allegory of the cave and can be interpreted from this perspective. Having multiple causal friendships and relationships is akin to be trapped in the cave and seeing only the shadows on the walls, mistakenly thinking they represent the real world or real friendship. Only in the rare event that one gets to meet a suitable person and experience the unique true friendship Montaigne describes does one leave the cave behind and experience the real world for the first time. Just like the escaped prisoner in Plato's narrative feels superior to his peers upon his return and would not want to return to his previous oblivious status quo, Montaigne appears to feel superior towards those individuals who have never experienced true friendship and dismisses their relationship as mere casual acquaintances of no consequence. Given the rarity of Montaigne's proposed friendship and concept and the potential problems with it that we have discussed, it is possible that Montaigne's conception of friendship is a workable theoretical construct which is plausible in itself, but which cannot be readily applied to the real world of experience most of us are caught in, not least by his own definition. Like the allegory of the cave, Montaigne's focus seemed to be more on the idea of the perfect friendship rather than the ability of everyday people to experience it, as evidenced by his lack of trying to pursue a new perfect friendship with someone else's after La Boétie's death. Montaigne seems to be content with merely elaborating on the concept in theoretical terms for decades after his close friend's death, rather than actively seeking out a new true friend and potentially proving his own theory wrong. His conception of friendship is entirely plausible as a theoretical construct, but in practical, real life, it is very difficult to come by a friend such as one he describes. When defining friendship, not only does he rule out a concurring sexual or romantic relationship, he also rules out more casual acquaintances and professional relationships in a business context. He postulates that women are incapable of forming the deep bond characteristic of the type of friendship described by him. From a real-life perspective, this would limit the number of potential friendship suitors to such a small number that this type of friendship is perhaps not feasible in our practical real world. Rather, Montaigne's concept of friendship reminds of Plato's shadow world, a mere ideal that is impossible to experience in the real world. Despite his apparent true friendship with La Boétie, Montaigne might have found that after the initial honeymoon period, the friendship has more flaws than initially apparent and does not meet his own stringent criteria. Due to his friend's ultimate death, though, Montaigne clung to the idealized version of his friend that he had formed in his mind and used it as the foundation for his concept of friendship, with no possibility of being proven wrong, as his cherished friend was no longer alive. According to Maria Popova, nowhere do the beauty, mystery, and soul sustenance of friendship come more vibrantly alive than in a 1997 masterwork of Anam Cara, a book of Celtic wisdom by the late great Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donoghue, titled after the Gaelic for soul friend. A beautiful concept that elegantly encapsulates what Aristotle, Emerson, and Lewis articulated in many more words. O'Donoghue examines the essence and the origin of the term. In the Celtic tradition, there's a beautiful understanding of love and friendship. One of the fascinating ideas here is the idea of soul love. The old Gaelic term for this is Anam Cara. Anam is the Gaelic word for soul, and Cara is the word for friend. So Anam Cara in the Celtic word was the soul friend. In the early Celtic Church, a person who acted as a teacher, companion, or spiritual guide was called an Anam Cara. It is originally referred to someone to whom you confessed, revealing the hidden intimacies of your life. With the Anam Cara, you could share your innermost self, your mind and your heart. This friendship was an act of recognition and belonging. When you had an Anam Cara, your friendship cut across all convention, morality, and category. You were joined in an ancient and eternal way with the friend of your soul. The Celtic understanding did not set limitations of space or time on the soul. There is no cage for the soul. The soul is a divine light that flows into you and into your other. This art of belonging awakened and fostered a deep and special companionship. The kind of friendship one finds in an Anam Cara, O'Donoghue argues, is a very special form of love. Not the kind that leads us to the pit, the platonic against the romantic, but something much larger and more transcendent. In this love, you are understood as you are without mask or pretension. The superficial and the functional lies and half-truths of social acquaintance fall away. You can be as you really are. Love allows understanding to dawn, and understanding is precious. Where you are understood, you are at home. Understanding nourishes belonging. When you really feel understood, you feel free to release yourself into the trust and shelter of the other person's soul. This art of love discloses the special and sacred identity of the other person. Love is the only light that can truly read the secret signature of the other person's individuality and soul. Love alone is literate in a word of origin. It can decipher identity and destiny. But being an Anamkara requires of a purposeful presence. It asks that we show up with absolute integrity of intention. That interior intentionality of Donoghue suggests is what sets the true Anamkara apart from the acquaintance or casual friend, a distinction all the more important today in a culture where we throw the word friend around all too hastily, designating little more than perfunctory affiliation. But this faculty of showing up must be an active presence rather than a mere abstraction. The person who declares herself a friend but shrinks when the other soul most needs, seeing is not an anamkara. John O'Donoghue writes, "The heart learns a new art of feeling. Such friendship is neither cerebral nor abstract." In Celtic tradition, the anamkara was not merely a metaphor or ideal. It was a soul bond that existed as a recognized and admired social construct. It altered the meaning of identity and perception. When your affection is kindled, the word of your intellect takes on a new tenderness and compassion. You look and see and understand differently. Initially, this can be disruptive and awkward, but it gradually refines your sensibility and transforms your way of being in the world. Most fundamentalism, greed, violence, and oppression can be traced back to the separation of idea and affection. The Anamkara perspective is sublime because it permits us to enter this unity of ancient belonging. O'Donoghue borrows Aristotle's notion of friendship and stretches it to a more expansive understanding. A friend is a loved one who awakens your life in order to free the wild possibilities within you. The one you love, your Anamkara, your soul friend, is the truest mirror to reflect your soul. The honesty and clarity of true friendship also brings out the real contour of your spirit. It is interesting to observe how friendship can exist in our digital age. Consider, for example, the friendship between two people who live apart and rarely spend physical time together, but are constantly and intimately connected via email, Facebook, Zoom, text messaging, and other digital extensions of physical presence. In that relationship, is that relationship any less real, even though it isn't rooted in physicality? Perhaps the criterion of people with whom one spends one's life is better reframed as people on whom one spends one's emotional energies. It is generally agreed upon that friendship enhances well-being and has nothing to do with the quantity, but rather with the quality of friends one has. It is not the number of Facebook, Instagram we have, but the nature of those relationships. It is the degree of companionship what matters. Among the paradoxes of friendship is this: all friendships of depth and durability are based on a profound knowledge of each other, of the soul beneath the costume of personality. We bring this knowledge, this mutual understanding to every interaction with a true friend. That is what makes friendship satisfying, steadying, safe. It is what makes it, in Khalil Gibran's immortal words, a field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And yet, if we are alive enough, each time we meet, we are meeting for the first time, getting to know each other afresh, for only the self that goes on changing goes on living. A true friend blesses both the abiding and the possible in us. Gibran's prophet said, "Let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. In a sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed." I would like to conclude this presentation with Khalil Gibran's poem on the essence of friendship, denoted in his seminal book, The Prophet. Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the a. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words, in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I can see there are one message. The slides supposed to be moving with her readings? The two first slides are the only ones that showed up. I thought did you not see my slides at all? I was moving the slides. Maybe somebody can answer me? Maybe Victoria? Victoria, did you see the slides moving? Anyhow, I apologize if it wasn't moving. Would any of you would like to make any comments on friendship? How do you experience friendship? Do you have those friendship that, oh, thank you, Glenda. I saw the moving. Do you have friendships like Montaigne had, that one and that is only happens once in a lifetime and nothing else? Or how do you experience friendship? Do you feel that, have you had friendships whereby the friendship lasted for a long time or just for a period of time? What do you think? Thank you, Suzanne. What do you think? Tell me about your experiences about friendship, because this is what we're going to go into even more next time. Anybody would like to contribute? Dave, thank you. Let me allow you to talk. Okay, Dave, tell me. Thank you for joining us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm 82 now, and
Oh.
I moved to the Vancouver area, British Columbia, about 10 years ago, in a retirement. And from my perspective, I have more friends now than I've ever had in my life. Uh,
Ah.
they are deeply satisfying relationships in which they're often playful, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but there's no sense of competition.
Mm-hmm.
And what I notice in reflection on what you were talking about, Gyorgyi, that uh, because I have relaxed into being a human being at age 82, at least much more than when I was younger, there's the possibility of relaxing more with people, and therefore the greater likelihood of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I have two or three people that, three people that I can be entirely open. I can, if I'm struggling with something, I can easily tell them what's going on with me, and in that there's no judgment on their part
Mm-hmm.
what's happening with me. It's just here's a life situation that we are dealing with, and similarly, I believe that they're able to tell me their struggles as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's the ability to relax in accepting what life offers that has become the basis of friendship.
Yeah, I so agree with you. Actually, these are all what I cited here from Aristotle to John O'Donoghue. They're all saying the same thing, really, that it is a radically different relationship than a romantically love-based relationship. And interestingly, what I have found throughout all these readings that they put friendship at a much higher level than romantic relationships. So they really feel that it is a more profound quality of relationship. And it is quite interesting because that's like one after the other, going back to several hundreds of years, what philosophers wrote exactly the same thing. Absolutely. And then how much this notion of friendship changed. And that's what I try to point to, that these Facebook friendship and Instagram friendships and are they really friends, really? And what is this? The really base of a lasting friendship, the equal exchange of energies, as well as the shared interest, and what else? It is so perplexing.
Yes. Ideally, for me, uh, there could be the combination of a sexual relationship with true friendship. In my relationship with my partner now, I touch that from time to time. Uh,
Hmm.
and in some respects, the closeness of the relationship makes it more difficult to be friends. The so that there's um, the need for alone time as well as connection time for me in a friendship.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And also there's the other aspect that as we are changing and growing throughout the years in our lifetime, maybe the friendship is not growing and changing simultaneously, right? So it's not the
Yeah.
friendship rather itself, but maybe the other person. And it could be as well that friends grow apart, right? What do you think?
Um, I don't have that sense with my current friendships, but at the same time, all of us are uh, close to the age of leaving this life, so that I don't think there's a pressure to hold on to the friendship, but there's a much more of a relaxation of this is the final stage of my life, and let me be present to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you agree with what Montaigne said, and in fact, what we will discuss in April, that Simone de Beauvoir as well alluded to, that there is just only one, that friendship where you just feel the closestness, just once
Uh,
in a lifetime. Do you agree with that?
no, I don't.
Mm,
The the friendships that I have are all different. There is from time to time a sense of and I don't like the terminology, but a change in priority. But my sense is that these friendships will survive,
mhm, mhm,
and that more than anything else, it's that I'm open to the possibility of meeting.
mhm. Yeah,
So that when Montaigne and his friend, when Montaigne's friend died, his inability to move on
yeah,
and be alive to what the world offered seems to me as a what should I put it? A restriction in his humanness.
yeah, yeah. But it's if we will go into Simone de Beauvoir's book in April, but it's so interesting the parallel that both of these people, Montaigne and Simone de Beauvoir, they lived like it's like more than 500 years apart, and yet they both experienced this intense love with a friend, and both friends passed away at a quite young age. They both idealized their friendship. They were both affected by the loss of their friends, and they were very much changed actually by that as well. And somehow none of them really were able to move on. They really kind of like experienced it, that there was the one and only, and that's that. So it's just really interesting. I never experienced something like that, hence I cannot really comment so much on what that could be like. But I do remember, for example, my dear dad, who is up in heaven, he had in high school a very close friend, and he died at an early age, and he hasn't been able to form a very close friendship like that was. So there is something in these type of friendships that only those can really talk about who experienced it. But it's just intriguing. That's why I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, what comes to me at the moment is that yesterday I learned of the potential suicide of a very dear person. I'm in British Columbia. He was in Ontario. But the sense of sadness at his leaving, the sense that I did regard him as a friend. Um,
Mm,
there's a finality, there's a incompleteness, there's a uh, well, just a deep sadness, and
mhm.
will probably take me quite a while to uh, settle. Uh, not to get rid of the sadness, but just to settle that this is what life has offered us at this time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Well, you're very conscious about this and very observant. It's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for joining us. I think for me, friends are really important, and just most of us, all of us, experienced short and long friendships, and how it changes or may change throughout the life. And that's why I was interested to go into who said what about friendships, and it really goes back to thousands of years when people are discussing it. Even in the Roman times, friendship was more important than romantic love, or maybe that was one and the same for them. Glenda is writing that I had a friend in England for 65 years. Oh my gosh. We began as pen pals while we were children. We met when we were in our 20s and still continue to write each other. Oh my gosh, Glenda, please come in, say something about this. This is so interesting. Would you mind, Glenda, just to share some of your unmute? How do I unmute you? Oh, why is it not?
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, yes. No, I was in elementary school, and our teacher wanted us to do a writing project. And she connected with another teacher in England, and we started writing at that time. We lost touch for a few years, and then and we wrote letters, of course, before we had the computers and internet. And then a few years later, we connected again through her daughter, and now so we've kept up with each other. I made a trip over there in the 20s, so I was able to see her in person and meet her family. And now she has grandchildren, but we've stayed connected for 65 years. So I feel that friendships, we're very close, but I have different types of friends. And a few very, very dear friends, good friends. But she's probably my longest friend that I had that was a long distance friend.
Wow. So tell us more, how do you experience these different types of friendships?
Well, I think when you are, my husband is my best friend. And we've been married, again, it's a long time, but 58 years this summer. And so we've been in confidants, and we're high school sweethearts, and knew each other when we found each other. That, we felt like we were soulmates at that point, and have continued to feel that way. So he's my best friend, I would say. But then I have lots of friends, but like you say, only a few very, very close friends. So I do have several friends, but they're different. For instance, like the one in England is a very long distance friend, but I still feel very, very close to her. And want to know what's going on with her life. And so we keep each other posted about our children and grandchildren. And, and it's been interesting to live an entire life and see the changes for both of us. But then I have friends that, like my neighbor across the street. Our neighbors are wonderful. We watch out for each other. We talk with each other, confide in each other, go through illnesses with each other, and pray for each other. So, like I say, just a few friends, but very, very few close friends.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, we all experience it in different ways, yet in very similar ways, what friends mean to us. Thank you. It's like, and congratulations of your marriage and for this pen pal friend for 65 years. Amazing. Thank you, Glenda, for joining us and sharing your words with us. And Victoria is saying, one of my best friend was an immediate connection. I saw her aura the only time I saw that. And when she died, she came to me in a person and laughed with great mirth. That has never happened before. We were friends for 36 years. Oh my gosh. Victoria, is there anything more you would like to share with us about that? Because that's interesting what you're saying. You just need to unmute yourself if you'd like to.
It makes me cry. She was like my sister. I had a few friends who passed on who were my sisters, and I've never had that happen. Her middle name was Victoria, and she was half Italian and half Romanian. Her father was Italian, her mother was Romanian. She was one of the most amazing artists I've ever known. And she just was art. She lived art and she was art. And I'm so grateful to have been able to know her and spend time with her and to be that close.
Oh, thank you, Victoria, for sharing. Thank you. Wow. It's always in your heart forever. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me. And so next time it will be about the Inseparables, that specific story, and we will review the book and talk about really how Simone de Beauvoir said that her real life friendship inspired the book, but in fact, it was so much what's happened in her real life. And also it's interesting, we will discuss that why and for what reasons the book itself was published after she passed away. But clearly she was very much affected by the loss of her friend. So it will be interesting to go into the book and really see what's happened to Simone de Beauvoir, because I'm sure it's happened to so many other people, not just Michel de Montaigne. And there's one more, Suzanne. Yes, although I'm still connected with friends that I've known since kindergarten, but my friend I met in third grade, we call each other our forever friend. And although our lives went different ways, and she moved to Venezuela for many years, when we would get together, it was as if no time had passed. She must be a soul sister that our friendship has gone through time and space. Oh my gosh, that is so interesting, because that's what so many people say, even myself, that when I meet with a friend whom I haven't seen for years, and then we just kind of like continue where we left it off. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you. Wow, let's treasure our friends, those who are with us and those who are up in heaven. Thank you again for joining us today, and I very much look forward to seeing you in April. If you can get the book, please do so. It is only 120 pages, but it's a beautiful read. It really, really is. Thank you, and stay safe and well, and see you soon. All the very best. Bye-bye.